lies. The more I watch YouTube, the more I realize many videos are just a pack of lies. That was my iron making the noise. You can see that my window needs a curtain urgently. Here it is. Yesterday I did some cleanup. So if you don't mind, my talks today about lies will be just alone my ironing. So friends, what lies am I talking about? The lies are multiple. The more we watch YouTube, the more we realize that some of the videos are just not carrying or not giving the right information. Or sometimes the information is not complete. Some important part has been omitted. And for the information to be truthful, we need to have all the sides of the story, isn't it? What am I talking about? People around me, obviously, they are different people. Some content with their life here. The others are, despite their situation, want to always go abroad. This is some disease as I see it. Because the internet, the life which is portrayed as an American dream, in reality, is not so. No, the fact it is American dream. When do we have dreams? Is it when we are awake or when we are asleep? As long as you have a dream, you are in a sleeping state, right? You are not in the real situation. You are not. As people develop expectations, false ones, it makes them more frustrated when they reach American continent. Why? Because based on my life in Africa, I can see that it will be very difficult for the African person to stay there. Usually, the first figure they hear, wow, the salary is high. Perhaps you take the salary, you take the expenditure. What should be more in order to live the enjoyable life? Salary, right? Just a few days ago, I came across a video where a teacher in America explaining what it means to be a teacher with the salary 2,300 she mentioned. That virtually your entire life with that salary, you are going to share the accommodation with somebody else. Why? Because that salary alone can only cover for the cost of accommodation. And don't forget, in America, those who decided to go to college, they have academic debt for many, many years. They have mortgage debt to pay. So you're constantly in debt. So in effect, by going through those debts, you're putting yourself in a slavery position. It is a slavery of a man towards the system he works in, right? As I live on the other side of the fence in Africa, I see Africans coming back, usually in which state? When they passed away. And it is very sad. I personally had a student. At that time, he was aspiring to be a teacher. I think he was either in the first year or second year of his training college here in Ghana. Here it is not expensive to finish that education. Everybody can afford it. Even the one who cannot always find some help with the school fees. So there are no debts for that education. I advised him that first finish the college. But what was the problem? His, at that time, not wife, but girlfriend, won a green lottery. Wow. They believe that it is a beautiful light to go to America. So you leave everything you were doing and quickly got married so that you can legally enter America. I can hear my iron, hear you. So the end is quite sad, as you might guess, because his body has been brought to Ghana when he died at the age of 41. But I remember very well he visited us some years before. Majority of Africans do not share the truth with their fellow Africans. Why? Because they don't want to feel ashamed from the situation they find themselves in. Because usually here in Africa, everybody believes if you are there, you are blessed. So who wants to hear bad stories? Who wants to hear something which actually makes you to be a failure? So he used to share it with us, those of us who are independent people, explaining the nature of his work in the US. So what was he doing? He was involved in the emergency services, doing resuscitation to people. So it was very stressful work. Saving lives, but it can also affect your own life in that way because it requires physical energy and it requires emotional, all your energies. And not forgetting your shift can be any time of the day or night. It is a stressful work. So if we people generally we look at work we are doing not just in terms of salary, because what I learned in life, for any salary you can make your life. That's why there is salary. It's only like you need to adjust your requirements in life. That is all. But if you are happy to accept any work, then that work can kill you. And there are so many cases of that. In that stressful environment, he found himself with virtually no friends, which means the emotional support you get here in Africa is not there. That's why anxiety disorders are so popular, are so spread in the country of America. Something which in Africa is taken care of by the communities around you. Because here, for instance, it is a normal practice for people around to visit you constantly. But if should something happen, they will always come to support you, to share with you their own stories, so that you have a person to talk to. That is the most important thing in life I learned. Because there is another trend going on now, another lie. We learn all these situations from the YouTubers' experiences because they're also ordinary people, where they claim that, yes, I will live for myself. I love myself. You also should learn how to love yourself. First of all, naturally, we already born to love ourselves. Naturally, we don't want to have our own bodies. Is it not so? But when we learn to love people around us, or when we help them, or when we try to volunteer to do certain things, if you help people, you help yourself. That's how it works. There is more happiness in giving than in receiving. That's the principle which Bible teaches all the people. So when we consume information from the YouTube, it is important not to be naive. Like we need to be always cautious and try to understand who is the source of information. If, for instance, they're talking about quitting job, okay, if this person claims she or he quit job, there are so many videos going viral on YouTube. What is the person's income? How does he or she supports himself, herself? Can I do the same? Because each person's situation is different. Somebody can have just inheritance and live well for the rest of his or her life. So it doesn't mean that we automatically should just quit jobs or we should accept jobs with paycheck we like, but at the expense of our time. Because sometimes when I hear the conditions people work, it makes me wonder, do people realize what they are going to get at the end? And because balance is important. So some also say I don't believe in balance. No, you obviously need to feed yourself. So work is important. God created human beings to work. But working to death at the expense of your family time, at the expense of your life, it's not worth it. What do we do if we cannot quit the job and at the same time we want to maintain the job? We perhaps change it. Or, better still, try to search for the supportive income for other activity, which can be your hobby. Here in Ghana, many people are not officially employed, so they are not going to have any pension at all. But what do? They learn some skill. It can be baking, it can be sewing, or it can be farming. All these things can generate additional income. So basically, what I see, additional income is not related to your level of education, especially hoping that the higher education you have, then you have more opportunities of employment. Not at all. It is the skill, what your hands can do. You can sell it, right? And if you can sell it, you can feed yourself. But if your higher education can fetch you job only if somebody employs you, which is usually the case because the skill is not there, that's where the problem is. I totally agree with people who, after high school, say that there is no need to go to college in order to make this life to be happy. Not at all. There are many other ways. Learn the skill or turn your hobby into the income. It is all possible. And stop listening to the stories who claim that they are in gainful employment. You don't know that whatever they get, they spend. And in fact, many of them even go into debts. So plan to simplify your life now. Plan for your activity or learn some skill which will gain you additional income gradually. And mind your own business. Don't be worried about what other people have. I learned recently how a doctor of 91 years of age still making calls to visit some people who are in need of his services. You will ask yourselves, does he need to do that? But there is something else motivating him. He realizes that that's what keeps him living, helping people. It means you're also fulfilling your emotional needs. You are meeting people, you are not alone. And that feeling of achievement of helping others make you happy. That's what happiness is. It is not about some pay sitting in the bank whilst your life is already has been worn out due to the stress of work. The fact is the most unhappy retirees are those who lived extremely selfish life, self-centered, which had only materialistic concerns. But if our concerns are of another nature, spiritual, emotional, then we will feel happy because feeling of happiness does not depend on the dollar equivalent, right? So the conclusion is get a job which can feed you, but at the same time can give you appropriate time to live your life happily. Build community, visit friends, volunteer to do certain works, and then your heart will be happy and you can live as long as you are busy about helping people. So friends, this is my few thoughts I have shared with you whilst doing some ironing. As my son-in-law says, he is a Nigerian, by the way, he says that ironing washing to him is therapeutic because it calms you down. So it is good that we can do our own washing, our own ironing, our own cleaning. It helps us feel that we can take care of ourselves whilst not forgetting to take care of the people around us. Stay blessed and share some comments in the comment section. It is bye-bye from me, Victoria, and my channel, My Warm Africa.